So what could be the next step in creation of this geometry? You can observe that I have to add a draft to the feature, and also you may observe that we have to shell the feature. So what should I proceed first? Should I create a shell and then add a draft, or do I need to add a draft at first and create a shell? So we will be looking at both the possibilities and see the variation in themselves. So first let me try to create a shell and then add a draft and see what is going to happen. So I need to add the draft on the front view. I've added the draft and the thickness of the wall is mentioned in the bottom view, which is equal to 6 units. So I will keep the thickness of the wall as 6 units and confirm the shell. So I have created the shell to the geometry. Now the next step will obviously be to add a draft. So let us see what is going to happen right now. I will select the draft, and you may notice that we have to add the draft for all the edges. Clear? So I have to select all the outer surfaces by holding the control command and right click on the screen. We can add the hinge. So I have to select the bottom face, and we can then add a draft of 25 degrees, which is seen in the right side view. So when I'm adding the inclination angle equal to 25 degrees, you may notice that there is a difference in the thickness of the wall, which we are not wanting it to happen. You may notice that the material is getting added. If I'm reducing the angle, so this is not correct. Obviously I have to go on the other side in order to form this particular shape, but the thickness of the wall is increasing. So this is not what we are wanting right now. We have to maintain a uniform thickness for the wall of all the edges. So the procedure for or the process of creating the shell at first and then creating a draft is incorrect. So we have to add the draft, then we have to shell the material. So I'll just quickly go back by clicking cancel, and I'll just open my model tree, and I will delete the shell what I've created right now. And let me close the model tree again. So I have the geometry right now. Let me add the draft at first. So I'll go to the draft. I will quickly select all the surfaces. I'll press right click on the screen and select the bottom face or the back face. Now let me enter the dimension equal to 25 degrees. Because we may see over here that the draft angle is 25 degrees. So it is currently removing the material inside. We can change the direction, and we may notice that we have created the draft feature. We may also verify our distances. So I'll go to analysis over here, and I have to see that the width is 350. I can click the measure option and I can select the distance. So let me select this point and pan it on the other side and click on this point. So the base distance is 350 units. So this is well and good. Now let me measure the thickness of the geometry. So I'll close this and I'll go to measure again, and I need to measure the distance between the surface and the top surface. So in this position I will be selecting this base surface and the front surface, and you can see the distance is equal to 100 units, which is according to the thickness what we have assigned. So everything is going smoothly. We can go back to the model and I can close the annotate. Now the next option for us will be to create a shell. So that is a very simple step. We have to click on the shell and click on the surface. After that we need to assign the thickness, which is equal to 6 units. So I have assigned the thickness and I will simply press OK. So one more thing what we have to verify over here, we have to see that does the geometry has any rounded features. Yes, our geometry is having rounded features. We can see over here, and it is also seen on the base. So have I done a correct thing by creating a shell immediately, or would it be better for me to apply the round and create a shell? So let us see what is going to happen right now after creating the round. So I'll just click on the round and I will go to the edges. Look at the geometry over here. It is getting eliminated or it is getting deleted. So it is basically getting removed because the thickness of the wall is very lower than the thickness or the rounded dimensions what we needed for the geometry. So in order to create a rounded geometry for this shell component, it was better for me to create the round before creating the shell. So I'll just close the round option. I'll take my cursor after the draft. So I have the feature back with me. Here I will be adding the rounded feature. So I'll add the 50 round because the round is almost equal to 50. We can see over here R50. So this is 50. I have to select the other edges as well. And also the base of the geometry. So I have added the round feature. I will be pressing OK. Now I will be dragging my command prompt back to the shell, and you can see over here that I have the shell component ready with us, and there is no problem of the rounded feature. It is not removing material as it was happening in the previous method. So we have to create the draft at first, after which we have rounded the edges and then we have shelled the geometry. So let us move forward and create the other features.